Let me know if this sounds familiar. You practice a lot. Your studies look good. Maybe you even have a sketchbook full of them. But the second you try to draw without references, without copying something, everything falls apart. What were all those hours even for? I've seen this so often with my students. It even has a name now. It's called the practice trap. So if drawing from imagination has felt kind of impossible so far despite all your efforts, in this video I'll explain why it happens and how you can escape the trap. And it's really just a tiny change on how you use references. And I guarantee it will save you years of struggle. Plus, near the end of the video, I'll give you a quick test to figure out if you're stuck in the trap right now. Let's get started. So without dragging this on for no reason, here's what's happening. What you've been doing wrong. What most artists get wrong is this. You've been drawing the reference instead of drawing from the reference. Now, the difference between the two is massive, but that might not be as obvious right now. So here's what I mean. When you're drawing the reference, you're basically in copy machine mode. Like your eyes will grab a shape and your hand will put that shape down. Then you grab the next shape and then you draw that and you repeat until, well, your drawing looks like the reference, if everything goes well. And the reason that this trap works so well on us is because the result is usually pretty nice. Like you post it, it feels good. Maybe you get a couple likes if you're lucky. It feels like a win. But your brain never really had to understand anything. Like you just copied shape from one place to another. You were basically, like I said, a human printer. And a printer usually doesn't learn anything. Well, that's not quite true. You will learn a little bit doing copies one-to-one, but really not that much. And that's despite however many hours you practice doing that. Now, let me explain the alternative. Drawing from the reference is a completely different activity, even if from the outside it kind of looks the same. So this time, the reference is not the target anymore, it's the teacher. You're not copying one-to-one anymore, you're extracting like very specific information out of the reference, like looking at a pose, for example, and like extracting just the proportions or like some parts of the anatomy and ignoring basically everything else, right? Like the shading, the lighting, the materials. And then when you use reference this way, well, all that information that you're able to extract is kind of yours to keep because it took work to extract it. It required you to observe something very specific and kind of abstract everything out, or how we call it, selective observation. Now, this might seem a little abstract right now, but I'll explain exactly how to correctly draw from reference in a minute, so hopefully it will all make a lot more sense. And that way you'll be able to get a lot more out of your references and eventually be able to draw anything from imagination. Now, here's something important that I feel not many artists realize. Drawing from reference is not cheating, and it's definitely quite the opposite. It's exactly what you should be doing. It trains your eye, it teaches you like proportions, it builds that connection between your eyes and your hand. And honestly, at that stage of your art journey, you can't really pull that like deeper information out of your references yet because you don't know what to look for. So if you're in your first year or so, copy away. You're doing the right thing. The trap is not copying, the trap is never graduating from it. So think of it like an RPG where you get to farm the same level 5 monsters forever. At level 5, it will be great XP for you, but now let's say you're level 40. Well, those fights will give you almost no experience. They'll still feel like fights though, so you might not notice anything wrong. And that's exactly what happens with your studies. If you're working hard and you've stopped improving, well, likely you're working hard in a zone that stopped giving you XP like a long time ago. And well, since the studies still come out looking great, there's no alarm bell that goes off. There's no warning sign that tells you that something's wrong. And that's why it's a trap. So how do you make the switch? Well, here are 4 things that you can start doing today from easiest to hardest. Number 1 is to observe first. Before you draw anything, spend like 2 to 3 minutes just looking and staring intently at your reference. That's a really long time to be staring at something, but really study it. Like compare the length of the different sections to each other. Maybe look at the shapes that the negative space creates, and imagine maybe the whole thing as if it was just a flat silhouette. This way you're kind of loading information into your brain before your hands get involved. And that's gonna help you way more than you think once you start drawing. Now with number 2, you want to play with the distance of your reference. So we're still, copying a reference one-to-one at this point. We haven't graduated from that yet. And when you're starting out, you want to have the reference like really basically next to your drawing area, like right next to your canvas, like inches away. But as you improve, move it further away. Maybe put it on a different screen, work from a video, like watching a TV and then drawing on your screen. Or of course, the ultimate version, draw from life. Because the idea is that further the references, the more your brain has to hold on to the information rather than just, copying it shape by shape. So in a way, it's the same exercise, but you're gaining way more XP by pulling away the references further and further away. Now for number 3, copy more than the lines. Like most people will only ever grab the outlines from a reference, right? But there's so much more information out there. Like start pulling out the values, like what the shading looks like, where the shadows are, where the highlights are. Maybe use only like the light source from a specific reference, nothing else. So I'm sure you've realized now, at this point, we're not copying the reference one-to-one anymore. We're starting to extract some specific information out of it. So again, you could be just copying the shading, the color palette maybe, whatever it is, it's just specific parts of the reference, not the whole thing. And that stuff is really going to teach you how things work. Working this way helps you keep way more information long-term. And now, number 4, once you're comfortable, basically stop using only one reference as the whole answer or as the source for some information. Mix 2 or more references into a single drawing. So maybe take the pose from one photo, the lighting from a different one, the color palette from an art piece that you love, but obviously like keep your own character's proportions and style. Just an example. And this is how it actually works in the industry, by the way. When we design characters at Blizzard, nobody handed us a photo to copy. We would have a board with a bunch of different references, and then each one contributed like a little bit to the final result, something new. So the reference had stopped being the target a long time ago. It just becomes like an ingredient part of a bigger recipe, right? So like you create the target now, and the references basically are just there to help you hit it. And hey, learning to pull real information out of what you see, the forms, the light, the construction, that's exactly what my art program teaches from the ground up. Our School for Digital Artists is over 30 in-depth classes covering basically everything you would need to draw anything you can imagine. Structured in the right order so that each skill builds on the previous one. You get lifetime access, all future updates for free, and a private Discord full of artists working on the same goals right alongside you. We extended the big summer sale into July, so there's still a little bit of time left to take advantage of the huge discount that it comes with. Check the link down in the video description. I don't want you to miss out. And now, with my shameless plug over, let's put all of this together. So taking everything that we've seen so far, here's basically where you want to be on the ladder depending on your level. So as a beginner, the reference is the target. You copy it and that's correct. You've succeeded. The proportions and observations is exactly what you want to be working on at this level. But then as you improve, you want to start pushing a little more. So put the reference further away. Draw from a video or from life, and then start pulling different elements out of your reference instead of just copying the outline. And eventually, in the next stage, the reference stops being the target. Instead, it becomes raw material, like a helping hand toward a target that you invented. And then once that becomes more manageable, well, you can start pulling many different materials from many different references. So we're still talking about using references, but in completely different ways. And the trap here is to be stuck at the first stage forever, thinking that you're still making good progress. So here's a quick check that you can do right now. Like, think about your last study. Could you have explained why things look the way they did? Or were you just like matching shapes on autopilot? There's no shame either way, right? But now you know the difference. And I think that awareness alone is a big part of how you escape that trap. The way you use references has to evolve as you get better, or you'll get stuck. And since we're talking about practice that actually pays off, well, I made a whole video with 20 drawing exercises, 20 of my best drawing exercises to keep you out of this trap and keep you leveling up. So you should watch this next. It'll be right here on screen in just a second. Hopefully I'll see you over there. So click the link. Do it now.